These are some examples of organizational red flags. The first one is lack of commitment. Our first focus in examining the root causes of corruption is the absence of a strong commitment to integrity and ethical values. We are referring to organizations where ethical violations are as prevalent as pigeons in a public park, where bribery, fraud and embezzlement are regarded as ingrained elements of the organizational culture. These organizations address repercussions for misconduct with the same level of seriousness as a goldfish approaches a swimming lesson, virtually none. To top it off, there is a pronounced absence of ethical leadership. They fail to model ethical behavior, neglect to underscore its importance, and make no effort to hold individuals accountable for their actions. It appears as though they are deliberately fostering an environment conducive to corruption, much like mold thriving in a damp basement. The second example is ineffective oversight, when there is a lack of proper supervision and accountability. You may be wondering, isn't oversight essentially their primary responsibility? And you would be correct. We are referring to governing bodies that approach their oversight responsibilities with the same level of enthusiasm as a teenager tidying their room. They neglect their responsibilities, allowing lapses and vulnerabilities in the internal control system to persist, much like a forgotten tuna sandwich left to spoil in a break room refrigerator. The decision-making processes are as opaque as a brick wall. Audits may occur, but they are as rare as solar eclipses and as ineffective as a screen door on a submarine. It appears as though they're intentionally fostering an environment in which corruption can thrive, much like cockroaches in an unclean kitchen. The next example is poor management, akin to attempting to herd cats in the midst of a tornado. Prepare yourself, as our next focus in this exploration of malfeasance is inadequate management structure and ineffective communication. Imagine an organization where the structure appears as though the organizational chart was haphazardly created, lacking coherence and clarity. The reporting lines are highly ambiguous, resulting in greater confusion regarding roles and responsibilities than one might encounter in a game of musical chairs on a tilt-a-whirl. Managers and employees resemble disorganized individuals operating without clear direction, lacking the necessary authority to make decisions or enforce controls effectively. It is akin to attempting to manage chaos, where crucial decisions are left uncoordinated and the absence of effective leadership exacerbates the disarray. Imagine a symphony orchestra where each musician is playing a different piece in a different key and at a different tempo, resulting in complete discord. Poor coordination results in inconsistent practices and policies, transforming the organization into a bureaucratic Tower of Babel, where communication is disjointed and no one shares a common understanding. The next one is failure to attract, develop and retain competent individuals. Welcome aboard this vessel of organizational dysfunction, where inefficiencies and mismanagement are the order of the day. Imagine a sinking ship where the only remaining occupants are the rats, the cockroaches and the captain, emblematic of an organization in disarray. Skilled staff are departing, leaving a significant void in expertise and competence. The remaining employees possess about as much training in ethics as pigeons do in astrophysics. The recruitment practices are as ineffective as a sieve in a rainstorm. The organization attracts individuals who are either underqualified or lacking in ethical integrity. Please fasten your seatbelts as we move to our next topic, the lack of accountability for internal control responsibilities within the organization. Imagine committing a bank robbery, walking away with bags of money and facing no repercussions whatsoever. Employees can disregard policies with as little consequence as a fly landing unnoticed on a wall. It becomes a free-for-all, a series of poor decisions made without any oversight or accountability. Performance metrics related to integrity are as rare as unicorns in a petting zoo. Disciplinary actions for ethical violations are as unpredictable and inconsistent as hurricane weather. Some individuals receive merely a mild reprimand, while others are swiftly sacrificed or penalized, especially in cases involving whistleblowers. The next one is disregard for professional oath and pledge. You know, the commitment one pledges to uphold when assuming a position of trust and responsibility? Yes, precisely that. In some organizations, it appears to be regarded more as a mere suggestion than a binding commitment. We are referring to environments where ethical lapses are as frequent as office gossip and carry similarly minimal consequences. Biased decision-making processes have become the norm, undermining the principles of fairness and impartiality. This blatant disregard for the principles they vowed to uphold erodes trust in the organization more rapidly than a termite infestation in a wooden structure. The next one is conflicts of interest, where personal gain takes precedence over the greater good. Employees exploit their positions for personal gain with all the subtlety of a bull in a china shop, treating their roles as personal piggy banks. Objectivity and impartiality are discarded with alarming speed as personal interests are prioritized over the organization's best interests, reminiscent of a bribery scandal unfolding. Principles, norms and decisions. What are those? The next one is failure to implement principles, norms and decisions, where a group of ill-prepared employees struggles to navigate the complex and often convoluted landscape of their organization's policies and procedures. The challenge lies in the fact that the rules are as opaque as mud, frequently changing, and often entirely disregarded. We observe the chaos that unfolds when principles, norms, and decisions are applied with less consistency than sunscreen on a cloudy day. This inconsistent application throughout the organization results in greater confusion than a chameleon in a bag of multicolored candies. Employees are left in a state of confusion, uncertain about which rules apply to whom and under what circumstances. This flagrant disregard for established rules and standards fosters an environment in which unfair practices can flourish. The next one is breach of confidentiality, where careless communication can significantly undermine the integrity and security of organizations. It becomes a precarious scenario of information leaks where the stakes are high, the actors are questionable, and there appear to be no rules governing conduct. We observe the repercussions within an organization where confidential information is handled with as little care and attention as a goldfish left in a hot car. Leaks are as frequent as raindrops in a monsoon, and sensitive data is shared as liberally as compliments at a self-esteem workshop. Insecure data handling practices are widespread, rendering access to confidential information easier than ordering a pizza. This careless attitude toward confidentiality fosters an environment in which trust erodes as swiftly as a sandcastle in the path of a tsunami. The last one is overstepping authority, such an organizational dysfunction. Imagine a group of toddlers unleashed in a candy store without supervision and unlimited access to credit. Employees, emboldened by power and driven by an inflated sense of self-importance, frequently overstep their boundaries, making decisions that are as poorly considered as a toddler's finger painting. This flagrant disregard for established hierarchies and decision-making processes fosters an environment where chaos prevails and accountability is as rare as a unicorn sighting. It is as though they are deliberately transforming the organization into a runaway train, without a conductor, without brakes, and filled with passengers who are about to endure a very turbulent journey. That concludes our discussion. There you have it. 10 indicators of organizational red flags that warrant immediate scrutiny, prompting auditors to examine closely with their magnifying glass and notepad as swiftly as a politician seeks campaign contributions. Remember, corruption flourishes in obscurity. Therefore, it is essential to illuminate it wherever it is found. The fight against corruption is a marathon rather than a sprint, requiring vigilance, persistence, and a considerable measure of skepticism. Go forth and conduct your audits as though the future of good governance depends on it, because in truth, it very much does.